All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. So today I thought we would talk about who is your ideal client. And I wrote a blog about this and I couldn't find it a long time ago. And so whenever I think about like ideal client, for some reason, Mary Poppins comes into mind because she was supposed to be like positively perfect in every way. So I can't find the blog post. So I thought we would just talk about who your ideal client would be. Maybe it's Mary Poppins or somebody like her. Maybe she's super magical and makes the medicine go down, with the spoonful of sugar. But anyway, when you think, I want you to think of a time when a project felt perfect to you. Think of a time when a project felt perfect for you. And what was it about that project that was so perfect? And so, as you're listening to this, maybe jot a few notes down. Did you feel really alive? Was it something that you were doing that was so exciting? What was that feeling? So, why did that project feel so perfect? Maybe it's because you were doing, some core offering, something that you're really, really good at, you have some expertise in, and that could be logic modeling, maybe it's strategic planning, maybe you're a whiz at data viz, maybe you just love reporting, maybe you're like me, you like doing in-person trainings and workshops. What was the work that you were doing? Or maybe it was the setting. So I do a lot of work with community coalitions. I do a lot of work in rural Georgia and elsewhere. And that just really lights me up. I love being out and about in communities. That really lights me up. Maybe that's not your jam. Maybe you like working in, urban settings, or maybe working with elementary or middle school teachers is your thing. But what is the setting in which you feel most alive? And then what about the content area? Is there a particular content area? We've talked, everybody on this call has different niches. I do a lot of substance abuse prevention work. I do some public health work. Also farm.ece, as some of you have. So we all have like particular content areas that we focus in. And then lastly, what are the qualities of the people that you are working with that really light you up when you're in that space where everything feels positively perfect? What are those qualities of that client that is really exciting to you, that feels so amazing? So think about that. All right, so I want to switch gears for just a second and ask you to think about, and we're going to talk about this when I turn the recording off. But what do you notice about highly successful consultants? The ones that don't just look like they have a lot of work, but they actually do have a lot of work. And I don't mean a lot of work as in hustle culture, but they're very busy. They're sought after. What do you notice about them? And one thing that occurred to me, and apologies to anybody like my husband who has a phobia of bees, but they are the honey to their bees. They attract people to them by what they're talking about, by the work that they're doing. So think about yourself as that honey. So, what are those kinds of people that you are trying to attract? Come work with me. I'm your person. So we couldn't talk about ideal client without thinking about the opposite. So I've asked you to think about those spaces, those times when things felt perfect. Sometimes it helps us to get clarity when we're thinking about where we've been uneasy with our clients or our core offerings, when things just don't feel right and we know things are not right. So jot a few notes about that. Maybe it was the characteristic of the person maybe your client, maybe they were just super demanding, or maybe they were not involved in the evaluation at all. They signed the contract, you never heard from them again, and you really felt like all you were doing was crunching a number and writing a report. That certainly is not the kind of work I enjoy doing. Maybe you didn't trust the information that you were giving. Maybe there wasn't a lot of trust in the project at all. You couldn't trust the data that you had, or what you were seeing was actually what was happening. So where have you been uneasy? And then getting back to that feeling of when things are going well, what are those feelings? Is it that feeling of synergy? Is that a feeling of excitement? You're not drained, you're energetic. So, how do you feel when you are doing that core work with the ideal person, the ideal client that you really want to work with? And then what is the value of choosing to focus on your ideal client's needs the most? When you focus on your ideal client's needs, what does that do for your work? And then what will you do next when you're thinking about when things have not gone well and when things have gone well, the characteristics of your ideal client, the content, the setting, what implications does that bring up for you? So here's our tips. So I want you to journal about the work, the setting, and the context in which you excel. I want you to identify and describe your ideal client. Your ICA is what they say in marketing. And I really want you to take very explicit notes. Have somebody very particular in mind. Describe their age, their race, their gender, the kinds of things they like to do, the kinds of things they care about, the questions that they have. Be as descriptive as you possibly can. And then once you have that description, talk about or journal on what your ICA actually needs. What are the questions that they have, and how can you help them solve the problems that they have? Then I want you to choose 3 potential clients that are in your area, your state, your region, and go research them. If you don't know those people or you don't know the decision maker, who do you know in your network that can introduce you? So choose those 3 potential clients, make that connection, and then feed and water the relationship. All right, so now it's your turn. We're going to talk about all of these things. As always, you can stay in touch with me. LinkedIn or my website's probably the best place to go. And then please check out my podcast. So now we're going to talk about your goals, accomplishment you're proud of, and a place where you are stuck with regard to this conversation.